little story about how my parents planted a money tree for me 60 years ago. Imagine that, 60 years ago. Now, my mom and dad were both born in 1930. 1930, Hitler had come to power in 1928. Just barely, got a little bit of the votes. He got into the leadership in Germany, and then eventually he kind of took over and put everybody into basically World War II, and it all ended at, as my mom and dad were teenagers. So my mom and dad literally grew up during World War II, and they didn't have two nickels to rub together. Both of them, my mom's dad had passed away when my mom was very, very young, and my grandmother raised my mom and her brother basically just very, very humbly. And my dad had one sister, and they started into my grandpa worked at a cheese factory basically during the Depression, during World War II. He had to carry a knife with him when he walked home at night just because it was so dangerous. And they started with nothing, but they started with the beliefs that they wanted to have their children to have a better life. They wanted to have a better life, and they wanted their children to have a better life. And I got some interesting things that I found that I wanted to show you. But this is 1963. This is you guys probably don't even know what this is, but this is what you call a passbook savings account. And this was the little bank where I grew up. And in here is 19. This has got my name on it. It's got my mom's name on it too, because we had to both sign on it. And in order to make a deposit, you literally had to take this little book with you to the bank. And in September 9th of 1963, my parents put $25 into my savings account. Now, I was 4 years of age. I was only 4 years of age. And then you can see down here below that, there's some interest payments that are coming in. And then eventually, I start doing some stuff, adding money to it and stuff like that. But my mom and dad planted a money tree for me when I was 4 years of age. So they were already thinking that far in advance. When I was very young, this is the card that I had, but I started working at a truck stop washing dishes at this truck stop. And one summer I made my first paycheck was about $130. And I sat down with my dad and I asked my dad what we should do with the money. And he basically taught me the 5 steps. He taught me one, we got to make more money. Two, separate it. Three, give some of it away. Number four, we need to invest part of it, a big chunk of it. Number five, spend some of it. And being a young man, and I didn't really have a lot of needs, we took that money, and you can see there it is on July 20th, 1974. There's my first $100 in my investment account right there, that top line. So of that $130 that I made, 100 of it went into basically an investment account. Now, at the time, my parents were in the car business, and many people wanted to be able to buy a car, but they didn't have good enough credit. But they were good, hardworking people, and they were going to be honest. And they were going to pay us back for it. And so my dad had money that he had, money that us kids had, and we would put money into an account, and then we'd loan it out on cars. Now, interest rates were pretty high back then, and so we were getting 12% on our money. And so here's this little card that I found years later after my mom and dad had both passed. But there it is right there, 1974. There's the first $100. Then right after that, another $75. And there's the money that I made with interest and everything else. And so that's planting a money tree. Now, in 1984, my mom and dad had 12 grandkids. And those 12 grandkids, one day they were talking with my brother Pat, and they said, we need to start setting up some more money trees. We need to plant some money trees for these grandkids. Now, I'm one of 10 kids. There's 10 of us kids. There's 7 boys. I'm number 7, so I'm towards the end. And they took a tow truck that they had, and they donated that to the kids' account. And they gave that tow truck to the kids' account. And then the tow truck made money as it would tow cars. And as it made money, they'd give that money to the grandkids. And they started out with a very small amount of money, but this was 1984. Now you flash forward to today, and my mom and dad are both passed. But when they passed away, they had 70 grand and great grandchildren that all had investment accounts, or they had part of a sub account, money that was set aside for them, that was growing, that was investing. And then when the grandchild turned 21, they could take that money for college, maybe 18 to 21. They could take that money for college. They could take that money for a small business. They could take that money for real estate, or they could take that money and put it into their own investment accounts. So my parents and our family grew those money trees for decades for a lot of these kids when they were just first born, all the way until they were like 18 or 20, until they were able to be responsible for taking those money trees and running with those money trees. So you ask, well, why did we do what we do in the foundation? Well, it's because of what happened in 1963. My parents started a money tree. They planted a money tree. Now, it happened to be in a savings account, which didn't make much money, but they planted a money tree. And then they taught me how to grow a money tree. And then they taught me how to grow a whole orchard of money trees. Then I learned how to buy money trees and buy orchards. So as you're getting started, step number 1 through 5, step 4 is to automatically invest. And that's where you're taking money from your job and we're putting some money away and we're getting it invested in an autopilot investing. That's number 4. But number 6 is the real key, and number 7. So we're going to pop over here and we're going to doodle a little bit. So the 5 steps. Number 1, make more money. Make more money. You've got to figure out how to make more money. Number 2 is to separate it. You literally have to figure out where it is you want to go. Number 3 is you need to give. You need to give some of that money away. Number 4 is automatically invest. Autopilot. And number 5 is to save and spend. This is how you get started with the first 5 steps. Okay, those are the first 5 steps that you need to be able to do, is those 5 steps. Now, in addition to that, we need to do number 6. Number 6 is to add real estate. Take your small business and turn it into a large business. You want to take that small business and turn it into a large business and do multiple streams of income. This is the key. Up here, you're growing a money tree. Here, you're buying a money tree. Here, you're buying a whole orchard of money trees. Long-term rentals, businesses, all that stuff is how you really accelerate it. And then number 7 is the wealth formula. We're taking money from our job and taking money from our businesses, taking money from our real estate, and we're putting that money away every week, every month into a separate account, and we're adding money to it consistently, always. It doesn't matter if the market's going up or market's going down. And we do that, and then we have it go up in value. We do that and have it go up in value times time, and that equals wealth. That's what you're doing. That's what your goal is. That's how you get where you need to go, is by doing those 7 steps. And so I can look back 60 plus years ago when my parents wanted me to have a better life, and they planted a money tree in a savings account. Then they taught me about money. They didn't just sit down at a table and teach it to me. They did it. They were doing it on their own. They were growing their own money trees. They were growing and buying money trees. They were buying money orchards. They were buying real estate and rental units and businesses and all that stuff. And we did it. My dad didn't sit down and just tell us how to do it. We did it. And he didn't care if we succeeded or failed. All he cared about is we tried. So that's what we're trying to instill on you. And the biggest thing that we learned was the habit. Creating the habit. Success and money habits. Success is a series of daily habits. Success is a series of daily victories and failures. The key is you get started and then you get going. And then once you create these little systems, then you pour gas on it. You make it go faster. you add more to it, and the compounding effect. The reason we do what we do in the foundation all has a purpose. When we send you money, we have you show us that you put it into your investment account. We could have taken that money, invested it for you, but that's not fixing the problem. We want you to know how to do it. And so we're encouraging, we're reinforcing habits. So if you want to make a difference, people, you got to have two things. You really want to be successful. There's two things that you got to have. You've got to have a why. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And you got to have grit. You got to have stick-to-itness. You got to be persistent. You need to see where you're going and keep your eye on where you're headed. You've got a destination over here, and that road might get rocky. It doesn't matter as long as you're moving forward to wherever you're going. Why are you doing this? And who will it affect? Why are you doing this and who will it affect? When I was 34 years of age, I had a heart attack. I've got one artery in my heart that's got kind of a hard left turn to it that has created some problems. And I've got two special needs children. I got 5 kids and 2 special needs children. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be around financially to take care of these kids. And it scared me. And I needed to learn how to be able to create streams of income and assets and things like that. So everything I'm teaching, everything that's in the foundation is stuff because I had a huge why. And I've solved that problem. My kids are taken care of with all the investments and businesses and everything else we've done. I was lucky. 1/3 of the people who have a heart attack die. They're just gone. And I was lucky. Now my goal is to be able to take care of these kids, which I've done, and now to give back. You have 2 dates on your headstone. When you die, there's a date you were born, and then it has a couple dots, and then it has a day that you pass away. Your job is to have an interesting life. Your job is to have an adventure. Your job is to live through that and to make a difference in the world. You're a spiritual child, you're a spiritual being having an earthly experience. And we're all having the same experience. And there is a rule book, and there is a success book, and there is a strategy book. And if you can learn from other people on how to be successful, then the way you win is by helping others. The only way you can get what you want out of life is to help other people get what they want out of life. That was a famous quote by a friend of mine, Zig Ziglar. And then my friend Tony Robbins says that the secret to living is giving. Add more value, be more valuable, help more people. And if you'll do that, it will come back to you. It will come back to you. That's the goal, guys. That's what we want you to do. We want you to have a good life. We want you to have a good life. And many people got some really terrible cards when they were dealing out cards in the big game of life. 2 of my kids got some terrible cards, but there's other people that got way worse cards than my kids have. It doesn't matter what cards you can play. The goal is to play whatever cards you have. You get to discard old cards and you get new cards by going out and doing things, by learning things, by taking action. You can take bad cards and throw them away and get new cards. The worst thing you can do is sit there on your hiney with a bad set of cards and just say, well, this is me. I can't win. I'm not going to be able to play. So I'm just going to sit here and waller in my bad cards. No, life's a game and games are fun. So you get to discard that card and get a new one. And our goal is to help you have a wonderful life and a good set of cards. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make a difference, make it happen. And remember that every life is precious. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back.